Welcome to Capital News Update for Friday, March 15, 2002. I'm Dave Madonia.
And I'm Erin Miller. Tonight, Dave will have our first story welcoming you to this year's Youth in Government. Dave?
Welcome to the 53rd Youth in Government Assembly. With all the events that have taken place in the past year, this year's Youth in Government has taken on a newfound importance. If the majority is always right, then the delegation from Chicagoland STAG will be calling the shots this year. With 73 students, it is the largest delegation. This year's smallest delegation is Knox County Williamsfield with 3 people. Some people come to Youth in Government to work hard and pass their bills. Others to spend quality time with members of the opposite sex. With a male to female ratio of 2 to 3, this is a very good year for lonely video press reporters looking for love in all the wrong places. Youth in Government is all about bringing people together, even if it means traveling more than 3.5 hours like the delegations from Mount Vernon, Goreville, and McGaw-Evanston, while the lazy bumps from Springfield to Williamsville had to stroll all of about 20 minutes to get here. No matter how far or close, or large or small, everyone in Springfield is here as one great big group. As always, democracy must be learned by every generation. We here would like to welcome everyone to Youth in Government and hope that all students will have a great time. Stay tuned for interviews from all the major candidates and Kristen Brown, our correspondent on elections and voting. But first, here are this year's election results.
After all the campaigning, speeches, and the candidates' hard work, we finally have elected officials. Tonight at the banquet, we heard the final results. Here at Capital News Update, we are going to provide you with the specific voting tallies. In the race for governor, Josh Coates had 302 votes, and Tarun Patel has been voted in for governor with 604 votes. For Chief Justice, Kevin Becker won with a total of 60 votes to Dustin Greenberg, 42 votes. Ian Starr had 506 votes for the position of Lieutenant Governor, while Abby Miller received 402 votes. This year's Secretary of State, Joshua Michaels, won with 492 votes. Megan Beletovich came in with 394. For the Speakers of the House, Megan Knapp received 291 votes, Alyssa Deming, 245, Levi Bennett received 159, and Lindsay Clark received 129 votes. As the President of the Senate, Steve Hinman with 140 votes, David Mork received 113 votes, Coleman Balo accumulated 108 votes, and Eric England received 88 votes. Executive Director of the Lobbyists, Peter Fu, came in with 82 votes, and Mark Deaton came in with 24 votes. Congratulations to all. Now to Kristen Brown with a special report.
Apathy. This year's Youth in Government program seemed to suffer from it in the early rounds of elections. Many candidates ran for positions unopposed and pre-ledge won. Why has this been so prevalent? Were people not informed about these positions or just not interested? No matter what the reason is, the one question that still remains is whether or not students should be filling up positions just because there is no one else. So, how did you attain this position?
Well, at Pre-Ledge 2, no one in the Northern Region expressed an interest in being either the Secretary of the Senate or the Clerk of the House. One of the advisors asked everyone in the auditorium whether or not he or she wanted to obtain either of these positions. Another girl and I merely gave our names to the advisor, and then we got the position.
Or should advisors do more to inform everyone about what these positions entail and encourage qualified students to run for them instead of people being placed into administrative positions without originally applying? Do you believe that it is fair that unopposed of running officials and candidates are just placed into office?
Well, I'm not sure if it's fair or not, but it's kind of how it's done in the real world. If you notice that the primary coming up, there's a lot of people running that are unopposed. It's anybody's choice to run against them. We allow anybody in the program that's been here more than 1 year, in certain cases, or their first year to run for an office. We can't make people run. We encourage people to run. We try to get more people to run. But if they choose not to, it's really kind of out of our hands, and we do need somebody to fill the position. And if one person happens to be running for it, they happen to get elected.
A dream for next year would be to have at least 2 or 3 people interested enough to run for a position. How do you feel about people being placed in administrative positions who did not apply originally?
I think that it's probably a good thing. First of all, you have to have those administrative positions filled. You can't run the Senate without having a secretary who, reads the docket. I think the reason that people don't run for those offices is because a lot of times the new people in the programs are afraid to get that involved. They haven't seen it before. They don't know what it entails. So those offices often go to people who are first-year members of the program, and after they've been through the 2 pre-ledges, or at least the first pre-ledge, and someone says, we still need a Secretary of the Senate, or we still need a Sergeant-at-Arms, I think they're a little more willing to do it, and that gives them a good spot to feel more involved in the program in their first or second year in it.
While those eventually fill the positions have been well trained and have to be elected today, all delegates planning to return next year should consider running for a position. Back to you, Aaron.
This year, both Chief Justice candidates, Kevin Becker and Dustin Greenberg, hope to take a more active approach to the role of Chief Justice that will improve the experience for attorneys. Becker hopes to be able to better prepare the younger attorneys.
One thing I would want to do was, my first year in the program, like I said in I will say in my speech, I didn't even see the Chief Justice until the very last day of the weekend. So I'd like to get more involved and help the younger attorneys figure out what they need to do and help give them direction.
During the press conference, both took different approaches to their speeches. Greenberg's speech took a different tone. He stressed the importance of expanding the role of judicial review. Becker's speech took a lighter tone, with Becker confusing himself with pop sensation Destiny's Child and proclaiming himself Beckerlicious. Congratulations to Kevin Becker on his win.
This year's race for lieutenant governor was extremely close. Candidates Abby Miller and Ian Starr had both proven themselves to be qualified for the job. Both candidates agreed that the job for a lieutenant governor will not be a simple task. Although both Abby and Ian hold similar philosophies regarding the office, Ian shares a different view.
My hopes in office are basically, like I've said, to interact with the governor as much as possible on as equal a level as possible. And I'm really just hoping that between us we can get through as many bills as we can, and like I said in my speech, give each one as much attention as it deserves.
The position of lieutenant governor requires hard work and determination. We wish a warm welcome to this year's lieutenant governor, Ian Starr.
Secretary of State is one of the more prestigious positions that one can hold in youth and government. This year's race was between 2 very qualified candidates, Josh Michaels and Megan Boldovich. Through much hard work and concentration on their speeches, both candidates have shown their potential to fill this position. While Meg's approach was one of balance, Josh promised efficiency.
Job of the Secretary of State is to control bill flow, so I think that I can offer a quick and efficient bill flow to get the bills where they need to go.
Capital News Update congratulates Josh on his win.
Throughout Pre-Ledge 1 and Pre-Ledge 2, the 2 candidates for governor have worked their hardest to make sure to get your support in Springfield. Both Tarun Patel and Josh Coates have their own strategies as to how they prepare for the election. Josh says that his hard work has gotten him this far. Along with much hard work and dedication to get to the governor's office, both candidates have given some thought as to what they'll do if they are voted into office. Tarun explained his plan.
My action plan is we mock real government by making the governor have a legislative and judicial advisory board. The legislative board would have 11 members, the judicial would have 9. These are not people that are selected because they're my cronies. These are people from both geographic areas of the state selected by their advisors as the leading delegates inside of their delegation.
After learning that he had won, we were able to catch up with Tarun.
I didn't have a reaction. I was just lost. This has kind of been the first time in my life when I've really, really been nervous. I've usually been able to hold myself pretty well, and tonight my heart was just pounding. And he said the name, and it was just kind of like, okay, let's just go through the motions, and I'll figure out the emotions later on. And so, emotion-wise, I don't know what to tell you. My reaction was I was just getting through it, and it was exciting. I came down to tears a couple times after that, walking out with my school. It's going to be a great night and a great weekend.
And what do you think distinguished you from your opponent?
I don't want to talk about that. I mean, we were both great guys. I have to tell you, I've always, at the end of any sort of competition, been able to put myself in a position, whether it be higher or lower, whether winning, losing, whatever. This was the one time. Josh is a great guy, and I really respect him. And I didn't know, and that's why I was so nervous. It was down to the second, and so I don't know. I think what might have maybe affected voters was the fact that I took the next step that many others didn't, and that was to make a solid, concrete plan of action to get things done.
And what's the first thing you plan to do tonight now that you're governor?
Breathe, wipe off some sweat, and then we'll plan out this weekend to make it the best ever.
Tarun Patel will take us through the 53rd year of Youth in Government.
Pre-Ledge 1 and Pre-Ledge 2 are designed to train delegates and set bill priorities, yet some students wonder if any amount of training can really prepare them for this weekend. This year, some students felt that the pre-ledges did not fully prepare them for this busy weekend. While during each pre-ledge, the students were taught the skills that they needed for Springfield. Some felt they weren't as helpful as they could have been.
I'd say that Pre-Wedge 1 and Pre-Wedge 2, they could have helped us train better. I really didn't feel prepared coming out of those, and it was really the help of our advisor that helped us, not Pre-Wedge 1 or Pre-Wedge 2. So I think if we worked with that, that could be better.
Okay.
Yet other students feel that their training was sufficient and that they came here knowing exactly what was in store for them.
Could anything have been done better to further prepare you?
No, aside from my own procrastination, no.
Overall, it seems that the pre-ledges had many successes, and that any feeling of unpreparedness is due to the fact that being here is the only surefire preparation.
Each year in Springfield, the youth and government participants attend a banquet dinner. While the candidates for the elections are worried about if they're going to win or not, the rest of us are worrying about the food. For some, the vegetarian meal is not something to look forward to. We interviewed people about how they thought this year's banquet was compared to last year's.
Personally, I am a chicken person, and I think I remember right from last year that the food was chicken, so last year's food is a little bit better than this year's, but it's all good, so.
I think it seemed to go a lot faster. I think everybody was served their food in a timely fashion, and I think this was probably the best banquet I've been to in a long time. I think everybody was very attentive. We liked our seats. We were right in the middle, and I think everybody was very well behaved.
Overall, everyone enjoys a banquet experience. Banquet is something to look forward to during the weekend.
This is Erin Miller
And Dave Madonia.
for Capitol News Update on Friday, March 15th, 2002.
See you at the Capitol.
Welcome to Capital News Update for Saturday, March 16th, 2002. I'm Bridget McGoldrick.
And I'm Meg Allison, and we'll be your anchors tonight.
Tonight we will be bringing you the complete coverage of the judicial branch, as well as the stories behind several other positions. But first, here's Meg with the story of the first bill.
We all remember the firsts. First steps, first kisses, first job, and of course, who can forget the first bill passed at Youth in Government. And this year, the winners are Knox County Galesburg delegates Sapna Mehta, Emily Davis, Rachel Maloney, and Mary Hamilton.
Woo, baby, it's a law. We now have, in the state of Illinois, better teachers for special education, special needs students.
Their bill is designed to improve the special education at public schools by providing better services for teachers wishing to work in special education. At a press conference, Governor Patel signed the bill first because of the importance of education. The writers of the bill were even more excited about having this honor than the governor was signing it.
Actually, we had no idea that it would be the first bill signed. We knew we had a really good bill that could really make a difference, and we just wanted to see it get signed, and the fact that it's the first is really amazing to us.
Of course, this was only the first of what all delegates hope will be many bills signed into law this weekend. Now here is Bridget McGoldrick with an update on the controversy surrounding the Chief Justice.
Controversy ignited by accusations of plagiarism and misquotations plagued the first day of Judicial Committee's Chief Justice Kevin Becker. This morning, Becker was surrounded by controversy when questioning on the authenticity of his brief has been raised. When Becker finally accepted an interview, he dismissed the issue of a plagiarism as a misunderstanding.
I don't know. I think it's just a little excitement and confusion. I think probably what the cause of it would be, if anything, was that we don't have an attorney advisor at our school, so we all work together on our papers, and it all ends up looking the same because of all the facts and all that being the same. So.
Becker drew more attention from a statement printed in the Youth and Government newspaper, The Observer. In the article, Becker had been reported to have said, "It is fun to use your power to declare things unconstitutional." Further investigation indicated a misquotation of Becker by the newspaper. Becker had actually said, "It is fun to have been elected to office, but it is weird to have the power to declare things unconstitutional."
Do you want to comment on your misquote in the newspaper?
I'm not really too worried about it. I mean, we all make mistakes.
In the end, Becker survived his first day as Chief Justice despite the controversy surrounding him.
September 11th, 2001 proved to be a disastrous event for our country 6 months ago. It has had a profound effect on the nation, which can still be felt today. This year's 53rd Youth in Government program has been affected by the event as well. Delegates have been able to see the manifestations of the growing concerns regarding safety. Delegate Jamie Nieto explained his experience.
I feel that they've had a significant effect on the program as to not so many doors being open. We don't have access to as many places we did last year. And security is a little tighter with the badges because they weren't as strict checking IDs, but now they are this year.
The tragedy has also led to a host of new bills relating to the event. Bijal Shaw is one of the delegates who noticed this pattern.
I think they've really brought about new issues for the bills, like airport security and patriotism in schools.
This year, much effort has been put into preparing an experience that would be safe and memorable, according to Alan Moore.
The results of that experience have been multiple, I guess, and the concern has been for the safety of our students and then certainly the security of the Capitol. The results are that we were required this year to submit to the Secretary of State's office all the adults' driver's license, their date of birth, information prior to our arrival at the Capitol, and we were required to have additional adults working in areas throughout the facilities in order to help facilitate entry into the building. Students have fewer accesses to outside doors as well as the general public. Actually, we are afforded more opportunities than the general public, but with the name tags, we are able to move fairly freely, perhaps more freely than most people, around the Capitol area. But that's only because of our experience in working with the Capitol security and our experience they've had with our students over the years.
Despite the increased focus on security, many delegates like Nathan Trewitt feel fortunate to be involved in a process that is so important to our country.
I think it's made youth and government members be a little bit more patriotic. After the tragic events of September 11th, it's made us all realize that we are grateful to be a part of this constitutional process, and anything we can do and help make America better and stronger, we will.
So far, the program has run smoothly, and there have not been any major disruptions from the increased security measures.
Judicial branch means many different things to many different people. Some people, when they hear the word judicial, fear spending the night in a desolate jail cell. Beyond the initial reaction, this year's youth and government delegates will get a deeper understanding for the system.
Honestly, I hope to win.
Attorneys aren't the ambulancing, chasing people some people make them out to be. In fact, they have to do a lot of research and preparation to be ready for this weekend.
It's definitely the hardest thing I've seen out of any other delegates here in Springfield. Everyone else, like the senators, House representatives, they've all been sitting around talking, swimming in the swimming pool, but I've definitely been working on my oral argument and spent a lot of time reading briefs, and it just seems like I've been doing a lot more work than everybody else.
Future Johnny Cochrans came together to prepare a mock trial, which they presented in front of a court. The trial took place in December, and during this weekend, attorneys will be working on their appeals. During the weekend, attorneys are busy writing their oral arguments, which are basically oral presentations to a panel of judges on the possibility of an error in the initial trial. The appealee, or the defense, must argue that there was a fundamental error in the trial, which caused the conviction of their client. On the other hand, the appellant, aka the prosecution, must show that there was no error. This entire process is very stressful. The attorney must not only present their arguments, but they must also serve the judge of their peers. Many attorneys may be working all night to prepare for their stressful days ahead.
Elections are notorious for being similar to popularity contests. More often than not, politicians elected into office are elected due to their physical attributes as opposed to their level of intelligence or integrity. What qualities do you look for in a candidate? Are they based on gender, race, or age? Or maybe it's the school the candidate attends. Are your votes based upon their socioeconomic status? All the candidates made their guesses when running their campaign. We asked you what would affect your vote.
I think a good candidate has to be honest. I think a good candidate, happy, kind of energetic, and just be supportive of everyone you represent.
Do their credentials or wit really matter?
A good candidate should be someone that's competent. They need to have a good voice, like very articulate, and they need to enunciate a lot. And they need to be more concerned with passing quality bills rather than like quantity.
So the next time you place your ballot, take into consideration who you're voting for and why. This is Lopa Panda for Capital News Update.
Tarun Patel probably got his first night of restful sleep after a nail-biting gubernatorial race between two strong candidates. When asked what his reaction was after they called his name, Patel responded,
Well, the first thing is, when you're sitting there, you kind of want to have a self-fulfilling prophecy. So as he's reading off the first part of it, you kind of say it with him, like, and the governor is, and you kind of fill in your own name, hoping it'll match.
After getting over the initial shock and excitement, Patel got down to business. His first meeting started at about 8 o'clock this morning, and the advisory boards, which were the platform of Patel's speeches, were beginning to take their shape. But Patel continued to remain optimistic, explaining that the concept of the advisory boards is a new idea that will be refined by future governors. Despite early opposition, even Chief Justice Kevin Becker now supports the plan.
I've decided now that actually a new program that I'll be using for the judicial review tomorrow is going to use his advisory board, and after some more careful review, I think it will work pretty well.
Unlike past years, Patel officially passed his first bill by 12:30.
Do you have any idea what a lobbyist does during the Youth and Government Weekend? Is the lobbyist position a vital component of the program, or just another way to get more people involved? Well, many lobbyists will say that the position is completely what you make of it.
Hi, this is Albert Trevetti from Capital News Update. I'm here with Neil Tucker, a lobbyist. Neil, what do you think of the lobbyist experience so far?
Well, I think it's kind of boring because I don't have too much interaction with my bill.
In Springfield, the lobbyist tries to persuade other legislators to vote for his or her group's bill. At the committee meetings, the lobbyists present a summary of their group's bill.
And how has committee session been so far?
Well, it disgusts me to see people sleeping when lobbyists should be helping out their legislators passing their bill.
When the lobbyist group is in the Senate and the House, he or she gets the opportunity to observe the session from the gallery.
And what is it like when the legislator is in session and you're watching from the peanut gallery?
Well, I find it very boring because although I see my bill being passed or rejected, I have no say in the debate.
When looking at the weekend as a whole, the lobbyist position is a great way for students to start off their youth in government experience.
Would you recommend the lobbyist program to anyone else?
Yes, if you're willing to do hard work, because that's what it takes to be a lobbyist.
Many lobbyists agree that there is not as much pressure, yet they still have the opportunity to see what the program is all about.
After many months of hard work and preparation, eager legislators arrive at the Capitol building Saturday morning to debate their bills. However, some legislators find that their bill has been killed before lunchtime. In this case, bill groups have the option of taking their bill to a special committee. Special committees give revised bills a second chance with any luck to be passed. By 10 a.m., one bill had already been killed, Senate Bill Blue 1 from Chicagoland Eisenhower Group that sponsored the bill was of course not very happy.
What problems did your bill have in the committee?
My bill was Senate Bill Blue 01, and the problems in the committee were people didn't really understand the funding for the loaner textbooks, that there is no extra funding coming from the state, that the schools already received the funding for textbooks and they would just have to prioritize their funding within the district instead of receiving extra funding from the state.
And Aaron, are you going to take advantage of any special committees?
Well, since my bill was recently killed in the Senate, I think that I might utilize a lobbyist to write a special committee bill.
Some delegates think their bills were treated unfairly, but Senator Broadwell from Chicagoland Andrew thinks differently.
Dan, did you vote for or against Senate Bill Blue 1?
I voted against the bill.
And why did you vote against the bill? Were there problems with it?
There was one major problem with the bill. It didn't account for differences in property taxes. Property taxes are significantly higher in regions where students are given their textbooks, and the bill would in no way make up for those differences in funding.
Perhaps this kind of disagreement is proof that the youth and government experience is truly a democracy.
Many of us really don't know what a page does, so we decided to show you a day in the life of these special people who are so vital to our program. To your surprise, there are two different types of pages, a regular page and a bill flow clerk. Pages can work for one person or for a whole group of people, just as Josanna Wong Sing does.
Josanna, what position do you hold today in youth and government?
I am a personal page for the governor.
And what does this mean that you do during the day?
During the day, I make schedules. Like, I set appointments for the governor. I send personal messages for the governor to come meet. There's certain, legislators, they come meet with the governor, so I just set up those appointments for him.
Most people don't appreciate all that pages do for the youth and government program. You thought that there was only one type, and that they just ran after people because they thought it was fun. But a good bill flow clerk can really help, like Christina Filipio.
Kristen, what position do you hold in youth and government this year?
I'm a bill flow clerk.
And what does this mean that you do all day?
We get the bills from the committees, and then we write down if they passed or failed or if they were tabled, and then they will put it on the board and send it to the other house.
So next time you send a page to keep in touch, remember that these pages keep the bills running smoothly.
Each year, Youth in Government offers the students the opportunity to express their unique perspectives through their bills. As is the case every year, the 53rd Annual Youth in Government produced a slew of interesting and controversial ones. Senate Bill Orange 01 from Chicagoland Eisenhower, co-sponsored by Ted Ehrlich and Chris Meehan, proposed that PE be optional to students if they take an academic class instead.
Well, this was a problem that came up a bunch of times, and it came down to basically, if you have a 300-pound high school student who's in gym class, playing badminton is not going to make a difference on his weight. It's up to him to do serious exercising routines after school and make a good regimen of workouts to solve his problem. Gym is more of a fun period, not a time to do your weight stuff.